How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lo4f, and today I'm going to go and do a mission called Sunk Giant. You've got to go and rescue a Western Star twin steer from like the woods. Really, it's buried in the swamps. And yeah, I'm going to take this path. I could take the main road that I freed up the other day when I did the roadblock, but I thought I'll come this way because I'm going to attempt it in the Kolob, the flat face one. And yeah, getting to that part, like you get to that big warehouse where there's a special objective trailer. The Sunk Giant, the twin steer, it's only just off in the trees, and then you've got to kind of tow it to the top of the map to some little house in the corner, really. Yeah, like I say, I'm going to take this for this one because I knew there'd be a fair bit of off-roading. Obviously, I've got to also haul a twin steer. I wasn't sure at the time if it'd have its engine running or what, so for me personally, I wanted to bring a maintenance trailer. And like I said, with this Kolob, it doesn't really make any difference. The good thing is this is one of the few vehicles that, between the amount of wheels it's got and it's got a lot of engine power, it's not going to affect the speed if I take a maintenance trailer or not. So yeah, I'd rather play it safe than sorry. If not, I'll just abandon it. Yeah, suddenly slammed on. It's like, god damn. Nearly forgot myself a professional. Nearly had to throw the whole mission away then, but fortunately we remembered. So yeah, I'm taking a goddamn horse vehicle because now I've got another roof rack, some spare tyres, or more spare tyres, spare winch. You never know. As you can see though, again with the Kolob, it doesn't matter. I can get up to the top gear in auto. Obviously high range and high low are going to be like going their speed regardless, really. So yeah, the trailer and the Lo4f isn't holding me back. That's what I do like about things like the Dolphin and the Tiger. Some of the more powerful trucks, when I take a Lo4f with me, they obviously don't make any difference, because some people say to me every now and then, like, why don't you take, say, a Tatrin or a Lodestar? And when you weigh it all up, like, obviously in the situation, you like, if you flipped a heavy truck, a Tatrin would be very good, but I don't know if I'm just playing like gameplay like this. I don't know if or when I'm going to tip, and carrying a Tatrin behind you, because especially with this game, when you tow something, it kind of puts the brakes on the vehicle behind you. And yeah, the Tatrin's just too heavy. The Lodestar isn't that bad, but I think this thing's pretty bloody good for pulling. It digs itself in like a little loaf hole pretty well, and flips just about everything I've ever, well, it has, touch wood, flipped everything so far. And yeah, like I say, it weighs sod all, it can fit in the sideboard easily, it doesn't slow vehicles down, it doesn't roll very easily. So just when you average it out, like, not that obviously there's other vehicles that have become handy in the moment, but this thing kind of is no hassle until slash as and when the yeah, the moment arises. That's definitely what she said. Yeah, like I said, for this one I'm going to cut across, I fancy going across these, like, it's sort of going up the cliffs, kind of. It's instead of cutting across the bottom of the map for all that water, which, to be fair, I've driven through there in a couple of trucks, and the water, like the swampy bottom bit, isn't actually as bad as you'd think. For some reason, like on this game, it's a lot of the terrain that doesn't look that crazy. Like, so when you hit some snow, it's only a few inches of snow, and it's pretty much stops you. But then, as someone said the other day, in fact, in the comments, and it's true, they said in this game you can drive through water like a submarine, but you can't even get into second gear in a few inches of mud. And it's true. There's a lot of good submarine trucks on this game. I remember the Dan in particular is definitely probably one of the first submarine trucks I drove. But yeah, I mean the Dolphin as well. This thing, I assume, is basically a submarine truck. It's got the snorkel on the roof. I'd say it's got enough engine power. Thought the old horse or vehicle's about to tip off then. I've got a winch connected from the front of the Kolob to the front of the Lo4f, so it's kind of pulling it into the back of the Kolob. However, I remembered this before I left the garage. I just really couldn't be asked to recover the Kolob again. But if I remove that spare tyre, you can kind of tuck the Lo4f's nose in that little cutout where the tyre is, and then you kind of wedged up against the exhaust and like that little bit sticking further out the back of the Kolob. Yeah, and it kind of locks it in there. It can't really go anywhere then. But because I have got the spare tyre there, it's now just kind of sitting me behind the whole thing. And as you can see, it stays on pretty well. As long as you keep the winch nice and tight, then it kind of just keeps the Lo4f yanked into the back of the Kolob cab. And yeah, it keeps you there pretty well. So I was just doing like a bit of an S-bend. When you go up here, there is an upgrade to be had up there. I already got it earlier. Well, not earlier tonight, like a week or so ago. To be honest, I can't remember off the top of my head which upgrade it is. I noticed though on this map there wasn't really, or like this update with as far as like the forklift and the Cat 770G and the Bandit really, there wasn't like any upgrades to grab. Normally when they do a new update, like I could make a video saying like the location of the vehicle and the upgrades, but I didn't really bother this time because the only thing I thought is like, I could do the location of the forklift, but it could be like a minute long video and just me draw a line to like the bottom corner of the map, really, that warehouse where you find the forklift. So yeah, it just didn't really feel necessary this time, but there wasn't any like all-wheel drive to grab or anything. Obviously they added a few things for stuff like these Kolobs, the raised suspension, the multi-purpose gearbox, which was pretty cool, and what was it, tuned custom for the ANK. So it was one of them, one of them upgrades, I just don't know which one. As for this thing, like, the good thing about these sort of trucks, which is why I've been driving this a fair bit, the P12, the P16, I prefer the P16 to the P12, but I've taken both of them out. Yeah, with the bigger vehicles, they do go pretty slow and sluggish anyway, because you're in the like advanced special gearbox mostly. And with the way they kind of have designed these maps, where they are pretty slow paced, it's like these don't really feel affected, they still feel pretty realistic. And yeah, I think that's really like kind of what I'm looking for. It's not necessarily the top speed. I was sort of saying to someone earlier, it's not the time it takes to cross the map, because there is certain roads, like again that road block I unblocked the other day, like that kind of runs a road. I can take a main road from the garage to near enough the top end of the map. Going over to the left hand side of the map's a little bit more awkward, but there is routes that are not too bad. It's more like, it's not a challenge anymore, it's just inconvenient to fun. Like, yeah, there isn't really a challenge of going 1 mile an hour. It doesn't actually hold you back as such. Like, you're not going to not complete it or anything, it's just going to make you do it slowly. So it's, yeah, it's not really a case of it's difficult or anything. It's just a bit repetitive after a while. Like I say, if you're only playing this game for a couple of hours a week or something, it'd take a good old while before that starts getting repetitive. But yeah, the more you play it, the more you just want a bit of variety and stuff. And it seems like in the comments and that's what most people are kind of saying the same now. They're not playing the game quite as much as they used to, or they're just waiting for mods or stuff, because yeah, the pace has all just been taken out of the game. What I'd like to see, to be honest, is I assume they've already announced, well, I think they announced 3 phases. I think they kind of kept a bit quiet on the 4th phase, but either way, I don't know what the chances are of it happening. But an Australian region would be pretty good on this. Like, a lot of sunshine, I like nice bright maps. This one's got a lot of fog on it. I don't really know why. I've noticed when I turn this game off and kind of load back onto my PS4 screen, it takes a lot longer to close the game, and I've had more frame rate issues since this update. Not anything crazy, to be honest, not game breaking or like particularly annoying, but I don't know if they've put the fog in to like reduce how far they have to render the graphics or what, or if it's the fog itself making it like the frame rate and everything drop. But yeah, just a nice sunny Australian map would be pretty good. Obviously you'd have kind of like deserty dirt roads, rivers to cross, all that sort of stuff, little canyons to go down and that. I think it'd be pretty cool. And on top of that, they could add just like, there's a few videos I've seen of like the road trains over in Australia, and there's been like a big 10-wheel Kenworth and a 10-wheel Scania that look pretty cool as well. Obviously look pretty meaty. They've got road trailers, so they had like 5 pretty massive trailers towing along. But yeah, adding vehicles like that would be pretty cool. A little bit like this vehicle. Again, I like flying around in this. I still wish though they'd just made the multi-purpose, like just incorporated it into this gearbox, made the auto of multi-purpose the auto of this, and then just left us with high range, or just add high range and the low ranges to the multi-purpose one, and I'd probably give it a go. Oh yeah, as you can see at some point the Lo4f he finally tipped off, so yeah, I would remove that tyre in future if I do it. But anyway, yeah, it didn't really make any odds. Stuck a winch on him and we carried on because he's goddamn professional. Don't give up until the job is done. And yeah, as for the Kolob, this is why I wanted to take this route instead. Like, as I said, I could have cut up the road, but it'd just be a little bit sort of same and easy with the road. I mean, this thing hasn't got chained, which, yeah, again, it's about time they added chain to everything, because particularly that they've put quite a lot of snowy maps since. I mean, when we got the base game, we had the Michigan region, which has got 4 non-snowy maps. The Alaskan region is obviously 4 snowy maps. The Tamir region, 4 non-snowy maps. So it was kind of favoured with mud and dirt roads and all that sort of stuff. But then since then they've added another 4 snowy maps with Lake Kov, Dimandra, Big Salmon Peak and Flooded Foothills. Well, Flooded Foothills is kind of 50-50, but you know what I mean. There's definitely more areas now that chained is pretty handy, at least as an option anyway. And again, I don't really know why they're so strict with options in the base game, because they know they've got mods. They're kind of, at least on PC so far, like everyone can mod what they like, so people have got like completely different custom tyres that are obviously a lot more effective than the tyres in this game. So yeah, it's a bit weird, some of the nerfs they do. As I've said before, they seem to be, I don't really know, like with the after launch team, so to speak, it feels like a different team has taken over from this game to whoever made it, because the actual base game we got released with was bloody good. The game is still good now. I would still say it's worth the money, but it's just weird how, yeah, they seem to have like dropped the ball really in more recent months as well, with this like after launch DLC and everything. There's bugs, yeah, they're just not very talkative and responsive on the forums and that. Again, I don't really use the forums, but I click on them every now and then just to read what other people are saying, and yeah, they give you the odd update here and there, but it's really not a whole lot. So this is the, I don't know what it's like, warehouse I think this section's called. It's you'll know it on the map. It's kind of heading towards the top right. There's a custom or special objective fuel trailer there that I've been poaching fuel off for quite a while. I don't know which mission I need to deliver that somewhere though. I've not seen it yet, so yeah, I'll hopefully, when I get around to it, I'll remember to restart the mission, because as I said ages ago this was though, on Black River, taking one of these maintenance trailers actually. You had to grab it from the site where you build the drilling rig on Black River, take it to like the opposite side of, what's it bloody called, Smithville Dam, and I pinched some fuel out of it on the way, and then it wouldn't let me deliver it, so I had to restart the mission. And back then at the start, when I had like everything was pretty stock, yeah, it took a long old while to get there, and then I had to restart it and do it again. So I've soon learned, don't poach from any trailers that you got to deliver, or if you're gonna, like, as I said, reset the mission just so it like respawns the trailer. Somebody said as well, by the way, with a an XP glitch on this game, that mission I did the other day, what was it called, Aid Thy Neighbour, when you get to the trailer it says discovered trailer, and then if you drive into the box and restart the mission, it kind of respawns the trailer, and I believe gives you another 30 points saying discovered trailer. So I assume it actually did do that for me, because when I got there, oh yeah, I'd already towed it with the F750, and I think I just reset it to the cabin where I originally get it. But anyway, yeah, theoretically you can just keep pressing restart and keep getting like 30 XP or something for rediscovering the trailer. So yeah, got it. It's not too bad, to be honest. This like swampy area, it's not a complete ridiculous troll compared to some of the areas that are like, you know, a few inches deep of mud, and it absolutely nails you. Yeah, that's what we've got to get. The old twin steer. And like I said, at this point, right now, I forgot to even attempt to fix it, but I wasn't sure if it'd run or not, and yeah, this was me. I couldn't resist. I suddenly realised that, oh yeah, I'm going to have to attach the winch to the twin steer, and then I realised I'd have to leave my goddamn little professional behind, so wasn't too happy about that. So you see, just gets on up there, scoots on over. Goddamn professional. I actually tried tipping the loaf over to winch it up sideways. The loaf kept rolling back to its wheels. I think 3 times it did it. Such a goddamn horse of a vehicle, I couldn't even get it laying on its side without it self-rescuing. And yeah, as you'll see, it was actually pretty easy to get out of there with this. Definitely glad in situations like this that they've added that active suspension, because this thing would be beaching itself. I still think you'd be able to get that thing out of here if you didn't have the active suspension, but you'd million% be catching that centre plate a hell of a lot more, particularly this one. Like I said, the long nose Kolob does sit a bit higher up to begin with. This kind of sits, I think, how high now, like the other Kolob does, and then obviously the other Kolob raises even more, but it's not got diffs always on, so you just find yourself having to go down into high-low quite a lot. And in that sense, it's worth bringing this. Although again though, the other long-nosed Kolob is nigh on impossible to tip over. This is pretty bloody good for not tipping, to be fair, but it is tippable. The old horse knew how to stay on there, even though he's not got a winch on. But as I said, with the P16 it works pretty well as well, because this thing's got a saddle high. Kind of like the Lo4f just sits over it, and it's like a little a Lo4f pedestal that holds it on there pretty well. And yeah, stick this thing in high-low, and I assume we're going about the same speed as I would anyway. Was I driving something earlier? Oh yeah, it was the Hummer. I was driving that earlier, and that feels like something's broken with it as far as the rev caps and everything go. I was cutting through some snow. I was cutting across from White Valley over to the airport, and I put it in low range auto. It was sitting on about 1,500 revs, and then when you put it in neutral it flies up to about 4,000, but it was crawling through there at like half a mile an hour again, so, which is a shame because I quite like the Hummer. It handles a little bit mad, but it's quite fun. But yeah, it's just horrifically bad on off-roading stuff. And I originally found that out was it on Northport. That's why I do that cut across to the fuel station in the review videos, because it was originally there where that thing kept trolling the crap out of me. Whereas the Navistar was doing yeah, a bit better over there. So this was like probably the most difficult part, was getting the twin steer out of that swampy area to this kind of warehouse. At least from here, I could fix up and do whatever I need if I got the low for me. There is that fuel trailer back there, but I've got my maintenance trailer anyway. I just decided to bring it with me. I did try and repair the twin steer, but it's something minor in this game. It'd just be nice if they did change it. You know, like if I click down to repair vehicles now, it'll offer me to fix the Kolob and the Lo4f, because it kind of bases it off your vehicle, but now it wouldn't let me reach the twin steer. Like I'd have to reverse up and all that, and it should just be able to reach out to the nearby vehicles from your trailer as well, because it's a bit of a pain in the arse, especially when you're doing stuff like this and you're towing stuff. It's yeah, it ends up behind you and it won't reach it to be able to repair it. So in the end I just gave up. While I was driving it kept saying starting engine, and I didn't see it, it just said it there actually. That's pretty convenient timing. Yeah, and it's not saying stall or anything, or engine stalled, whatever the hell it comes up with, so I was just like, sod it, it probably is working. I'll assume so. And yeah, this thing's motoring on through pretty well anyway. And you just gotta kind of follow this track down to a house up in the top corner. And oh yeah, one of the reasons I did this tonight, somebody was saying earlier in the comments that they did this mission and they were asking, like, I believe that, well, I assume they completed the mission, but then they said it didn't give them the twin steer. And I said to them, like, to be honest, I don't know because I've not done the mission yet, but it was kind of pretty high on my list to be doing anyway. I was eyeballing it the other day and I nearly did it. So yeah, I said to them, like, sod it, I'll go and do it and I'll find out. When I got to the warehouse, I went to switch vehicle to the Lo4f just to scoot it back onto the Kolob properly, and it offered me, like, I was able to change vehicle to the twin steer, but then when I clicked it to try and accept it, it said like, this truck isn't available yet until you deliver it or something like that. However though, when I eventually do deliver it here, it takes the twin steer off you, so sadly you don't get this one as a free vehicle, which is not the end of the world anymore, because I've kind of, because of that money glitch, I've got plenty of money anyway. But yeah, it wouldn't have said no to it. It's a pretty expensive vehicle. Obviously it's a bit like when they added Rift and they gave us another Tatrin. For most people it was a pretty handy thing, because it was just like a lump of 140 grand cash, which compared to what you get paid, particularly for the missions back then, you were lucky to get like 5 to 8 grand for some of the missions, if that. So yeah, getting like a free 140 grand Lo4f, not Lo4f, Tatrin, can't help myself. Oh yeah, I got to this point, I mean, we were mere yards from the box, that's what she said, and then the twin steer caught on the tree with its front bumper. Then I reversed it up, tried knocking it out of the way and all that, then it got caught with its exhaust. Yeah, I kept trying to back it up and knock it out of the way, but this trailer was just, especially because it's got that stupid bloody fiddly axle at the front, it just wasn't doing it right. So I disconnected the trailer, reversed at it with the Kolob, and we got it. Yeah, just getting that exhaust past the bloody tree. And you can see the Lo4f, he was just listening out for moles. Don't need a mole sneaking up and fucking things up at the last second. By this point I was like, yeah, whatever, mission. I don't care. Need to make sure my Lo4f is alright. But we're good. Mission passed. I don't think it was that much XP or anything particularly. As I said, it would have been pretty cool if it actually just let you keep the twin steer. Says me Loaf, goddamn professional. Gets himself back on. See, right now there's like some kind of Olympic ballerina type shit going on. His balance in there is good. That is weight distribution. And he's ready. Right, hold. 3, 2, 1 and drop. People will be holding up signs now like 9.8, 10, all that kind of stuff. SnowRunner Olympic winner. And yeah, of course, take your walrus for a walk. Sounds like some kind of euphemism. Well, I'm just off to walk the walrus. But yeah, as you can see, I was having a good old time. The Loaf's pulling the Kolob along just fine, even through all these muddy sections. I'm only in high gear, so I'm going about top speed at the minute anyway. But it's keeping that winch nice and taut, so it means that it is actually moving along. It wasn't the Kolob isn't just shoving me through the mud. And yeah, even though this map's pretty trollish, I was pretty happy with how well the Lo4f was cutting his way through there. See, even in the deep bits, you gotta go deep. That's what she always says. And yeah, it's doing pretty goddamn well if I do say so myself. And the rope goes a tiny little bit slack there for a second or so, but again, soon get that tension back and he's off skipping his way along the mud. Goddamn horse of a vehicle. Seeing what we could steal. Try and get some metal beams. Discrimination.